Now, given that Disney executives are constantly trying to course correct the Star Wars franchise and really bring things back on track between themselves, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and what they are about to actually introduce to the fandom, not just for the Star Wars shows, but also for the upcoming Star Wars movies, which, by the way, Disney CEO Bob Iger is his new plan to actually focus in on the cinema again, to bring Star Wars back to the theaters, mainly by making the switch to having the shows be more or less of a side thing, of a supplement to the franchise, if you will. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's a thing about Dave Filoni that a lot of fans are just really looking forward to right now for the Ahsoka Tano series, is that he wrote every single episode consistently. He wrote everything about everything when it comes to Ahsoka. Jon Favreau did help out a couple of, areas here and there for the show, but overall, this is a Dave Filoni project. And when looking at the upcoming films, we know that there is a Rey movie on the way, which a lot of fans are so about on that. There's a split and divide on that overall approach. We also have the Dave Filoni movie and Dawn of the Jedi. But going back to the Dave Filoni movie, Disney executives now have a full-fledged plan, and we talked about this way earlier, months before Celebration, by the way, that they do and have had a plan to create a new sequel trilogy, in a sense, that's going to be their biggest attempt to course correct the Star Wars franchise on the big screen. Now, essentially what is happening is the executives are looking into making a new sequel trilogy that's going to be placed before episodes 7 through 9, essentially. So though they won't be replacing the sequels that are already in existence, they are going to be treating this one as a favored sequel trilogy, quote-unquote, to be entering into theaters. So, with that being said, with Disney and Lucasfilm preparing to make some big announcements to the fans, it's noted that as of right now, one of the big plans being made by Disney to course correct the Star Wars franchise is by utilizing a new sequel trilogy for fans that will be led by Dave Filoni himself. This is a plan that was pitched by George Lucas earlier on and is now being picked up by Disney executives after handing Dave Filoni a new Star Wars movie. The plan is to essentially use Dave Filoni's film as a gateway to becoming a trilogy eventually that will serve as a new sequel trilogy, in a sense, that will of course have all opening crawls, much like the episodic films, as other films will as well. However, Filoni's films are going to bring characters like Luke, Ahsoka, Din, Grogu, Thrawn, and even other Legends characters to the big screen, and is going to hold many big moments from Legends adaptations into live-action form, and of course for the cinema for the audience. Now, though these movies will not be called episodes 7 through 9, they will be considered an inner trilogy set between the originals and the Disney sequels. The Filoni trilogy planned is set to have many aspects of stories told, from Heir to the Empire and the New Jedi Order, in brand new ways for the audience. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, Disney's overall game plan about these new movies is that Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie is going to serve as an opening for a trilogy. And that's going to be their gateway to making it the new sequel trilogy, in a sense, to make its way to the big screen. Now, as I stated before, they're not going to be called episodes 7 through 9. They're not replacing the existing ones, but what they are doing is that they are going to make this the favored sequel trilogy on the big screen, centering more on legend stories, characters like Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Thrawn, Ezra, Sabine Wren, all those characters that you know and love that will be appearing in the Ahsoka show, and all the future Mandoverse era shows are going to be a focus in this trilogy, basically. So, this is a really interesting thing, the fact that they are having Dave Filoni heavily involved in this. They see Dave Filoni has more potential now than Jon Favreau. And there have been, a lot of talks between themselves and Jon of getting him on board too to work with Dave Filoni on these movies. But it's mainly going to be a Dave Filoni-driven show, or should I say movie, that's going to serve as a gateway to becoming a trilogy. Now, again, the fact that lately now, all of the upcoming Mandoverse era shows are going to be a build-up toward these new Star Wars movies being created by Dave Filoni is a big deal, because it kind of gets you used to the characters, you kind of get to know the characters very well, because there's a lot of character development in television, so that works. And what's great about films, though, is that you get a shorter, more combined story, but it's going to have high production value. You're going to have it feel more like an event. You're going to be able to go to the theaters again with fans watching it all together. So, moving on, the plan by Disney is to essentially, alright, create many retcons toward the existing sequel films, also with Ahsoka Season 2 and the planned Filoni film that will eventually become a trilogy. Luke Skywalker is already planned to be one of the main characters in the movies, as these films will be an ensemble cast. It will be considered a part of the continuation of the Skywalker saga as well, and ILM is gearing up to perfect their technology to create flawless versions of Luke, Han, and Leia for these upcoming movies, since Harrison Ford most likely would not be returning to the big screen again, himself as Han Solo. However, they are negotiating with Harrison on that still. Legends characters like Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn are also planned to enter into this massive project by Filoni, as they are also planning to bring them into Mando Season 4 and Ahsoka Season 2. So again, the thing that I like about this the most is the fact that this is basically going to be treated as the sequel trilogy that we should have gotten right from the get-go, right? Kind of like taking Legends and mixing it in with the new, but in the new in the proper sense. This makes a lot more sense to me, because what they are doing is that they're taking a lot of favorite characters from Rebels and they're combining it with the Legends live-action adaptation stories, you know, and kind of combining the two. I think that a lot of fans are going to love that, and some fans, sure, may have some issues with that. You know, I know a lot of fans are already having some kind of issues with, you know, the Ahsoka series being a somewhat of a retelling of Heir to the Empire, but it's only just the beginning. Again, this is all going to be a build-up slowly toward these new movies by Filoni. We already have Ahsoka Season 2 greenlit by Disney, so that's one big step in the right direction. You know, that shows that they have a lot of confidence in this show. So, I think at the end of the day, what's great about this too, and that I think a lot of fans need to realize, is the fact that yes, Luke is going to be a focus, Han and Leia are going to be a focus through new ILM technology, and basically this is going to bring your favorite characters to the big screen again. Though they may not be their complete older iterations, like how you got in the 7 through 9 movies, they're going to be a little bit different than how you saw the characters in the Mandoverse shows. They want to create a differential there. They want to make these characters a little bit older so that it could stand on its own, right? So, for example, this could take place, this new trilogy, for example, it could take place a couple of years after, for all we know, of the Ahsoka series. You know, whatever they want to do with that. You know, and kind of cherry pick specific eras and combine them all within this new series of films. So this is Disney's new approach, by the way. This is why they got Dave Filoni on board of that Star Wars film. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And yeah, I would like to hear what you guys have to say about the whole entire scenario, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.